PC fam, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of Chill with Chill. Happy to see y'all today. What's going on, Chill? How you living?
Beautiful Saturday, Big Ox. Beautiful Saturday. One more day left in the regular season. It is cinema. Must-see TV out this joint. I know how you feel about the season coming to an end, Ox, but, I mean, we got some real action going on, brother. We got some real action going on.
It's bitter. It's bittersweet. It's bittersweet, man. But we've had some really. I think this has been a really dope season. You know,
Awesome.
I know there was a lot of talk earlier in the season. Views are going down, this and that. You know what I'm saying? And with that being said, Chill, when I report or hear those type of reports, I just got to take their word for it because I'm watching basketball.
Right.
You know what I mean? I just got to take their word for it. I got to believe the numbers.
Even if that's true, though, Ox. I mean, we were in San Francisco for All-Star Weekend, and I'm having a difficult time with the logic that the NBA is faltering. I mean, I saw what it was. The NBA is alive and well. It was 1 million people out there, and it didn't seem to be. Nobody cared about viewership then. Nobody. I mean, the All-Star Weekend was a big deal. So I sometimes hear that sort of stuff, but then I think about how people are watching the game, what people are doing when they're watching the game, how many people are watching the game. So nah, man, I have a difficult time with that. I do.
Yeah. I've always felt like, regardless, viewership numbers have always been skewed. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not really 100% positive how it's calculated. But I always thought it was like, well, I assumed that the way they did it was like counting how many TVs are on this channel or whatever. But I'm like, yeah it's one TV, but what if it's like 10 of us in here watching it? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I always thought about stuff like that. But especially, and mind you, I'm not sure if that's the way they count views. I'm just speculating, right? But then now it's like you got to think about playback. Playback is big. Like a lot of people are watching on playback now. You got just different streaming services to watch it, legal and illegal. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what are they counting now? And plus, like I said, it didn't really matter to me. There were times I was frustrated in certain styles of play, certain teams that I just didn't want to watch play. But at the end of the day, Chill, I'm watching basketball. You know what I mean? If I'm not, even at work, even if I'm at work, I'm watching. I got basketball on. I'm watching on my phone. If I'm on a road trip, say if my wife is driving or something, I'm watching. I'm always watching basketball or listening to it on NBA radio.
You're not in the minority, Ox. You're not in the minority. Like we have to factor in everything. So we have to factor in at a sports bar during the playoffs. We have to factor in at a sports bar. We have to factor in, Ox, if you're over my house with a couple of the fellas, and it's 5 or 6 of us over here. If I'm over your place with a couple of the fellas, it's not just we got one TV. We also have to factor in, you got your son in the back with his friends. They watching the game. So I mean, it's a bunch of different avenues. On top of that, when we have streaming services, well, these streaming services that we have, I don't think that the NBA has come to terms with it just yet. I mean, I think that they still look at streaming services like playback TV and things like that. I think that they look at that stuff like it's still less than, when in reality, like, we get plenty of views from that sort of stuff. And because we get plenty of views from that stuff, it does factor in on what exactly viewership is, because Nielsen rating only deals with, Ox, you got one TV in your house and you're the only one watching it. So if it's 12 million TVs in the house, that's the only amount of people who are watching the NBA Finals. But in reality, Ox, I don't have cable, or you don't have cable. You came over my house, and a couple of the fellas came over to my house to watch the game. So they're not factoring in things like that. The NBA is alive and well. It's one of the best. It might be the best season that I've ever seen.
Yeah, so I can't say for sure, but I know it's been a great season, and it just felt like it's been this season feels like it's been happening for a long time. There's a lot of storylines, for better or for worse, storylines that have been good, storylines that have been bad, but storylines that are keeping us engaged. And so there's a fella in the chat right now that's saying, Chill, that they're not watching full games, watching just 10-minute recaps and highlights. So we do got that. There is a subsection of basketball watchers that just depend on highlights, and sometimes depend on the panel, depend on first take, depend on around the horn or whatever they watch to get their info. You know what I mean? A lot of people are too busy to watch 3-hour games, and I can respect that. You know what I'm saying? If you just can't watch them, then that's fine. Whether it's a attention span thing or if it's just a time management thing, I can't say. But Chill, one thing that I will say, what's got me excited about the future of the game and this game is we got guys like Anthony Edwards, guys like Jalen Green, who are here to play basketball. You know, we got guys that are here to play basketball. Jalen Green.
What do you mean, Ox?
Well, it's been reported that Jalen Green's somewhat of an Iron Man, chill.
Iron Man,
in the age, I think the age of load management. I think those guys are kind of weaning themselves out. I think they're kind of getting out the way. I think these young boys want to play ball, chill.
Yes, they do. They 100% do, Ox. And this is what you and I had this conversation a while ago when we talked about organizations scratching guys from the lineup being healthy scratches and the fact that they need to come out more and say that I'm available to play tonight, because a lot of times these guys are available to play. And Jalen Green is a testament to that. I mean, it's the second year in a row he's played 82 games. So Anthony Edwards, Mikal Bridges, Ox, I might not be my best, right, every night. I might not have it every night, but that's no excuse to not show up to work. And these dudes show up to work every night. I might not have everything that I had 2 nights ago. I might not have everything that I'm gonna have 3 nights from now. I can show up to work though, and I can do my job, and I can be the best that I can possibly be. And I'm not gonna be one of those guys who's gonna get scratched out of the lineup. I'm showing up to work every day. What you're paying me, you're gonna get your money's worth. And you're not going to say that I'm just taking money from the Houston Rockets or from the Minnesota Timberwolves or the Knicks. No, you can't say that about me. I'm showing up to work every night. On top of that, the days that they try to make me a scratch, I'm putting it out there that I'm available to play. Just like Zion Williamson did when he said that I am available to play in back-to-backs. It's them who's holding me out. Jalen Green is making it clear. More times than not, these guys get the final say because the organization will consult with them. How you feeling tonight? Can you go tonight? We're going to scratch you for tonight. No, you're not scratching me for tonight. I'm good to go. I'm ready to play. Whether I'm awesome tonight or not, I'm ready to play. And a guy like Jalen Green, who still a young guy, still trying to figure out his way in the league, 23 years old, getting better as time goes on. You know, I'm on record saying I think there's going to be a point where Jalen Green is an all-pro. I think he's that good. I think he's that good. He's improved mightily as a jump shooter. He's improved mightily in his offensive game. I feel like defensively there are some lapses, but that comes with being young, and that's a player like him who's getting better at that as opposed to where he was 2-3 years ago. And nothing helps more than experience. And the fact that Jalen Green is on the floor every night, I mean, there's really nothing else to say except he has no choice but to get better. No choice but to get better, and I love that about him. I do.
Right. I do think that's a big deal. I think when you look at Jalen Green's game, even last season before, you could tell that's what it is for him. You know what I mean? He just has to keep playing. You got that's the best way to learn. I mean, I know a lot of people think that you just get better by doing off season work, which definitely does help. You know what I'm saying? 100%. The drills with the cones, whatever you're doing with your trainer, no matter what it is. I'm not sure what everybody's doing, right?
Sure.
Of course that helps, but you got to get out there and play ball.
I have to, I can't just sit on the sideline and watch. I mean, as good as experience is by watching you do it, I'm not going to get any better by just sitting there and watching you do it. I have to get out there and I got to learn it myself. Mistakes or not, I still have to get out there and learn it. Otherwise, I'm not going to get any better. And I feel like these guys, unless they're out there, they're not going to get any better. And it's obvious that Jalen Green has gotten better because of the fact that he's on the floor. That's one of the main reasons why he's gotten better.
And with that being said, too, watching is big. You know what I mean? Whether I'm watching when I'm, my off minutes, when I'm on the bench, I try to tell kids, all the time, and my kids included. When you're not playing, you don't need to be on the bench goofing around or doing whatever I might be doing, looking out into the stands or, not focused. You got to lock in. First of all, it's always good to support your teammates, you know what I mean? But second of all, you're seeing something, you're learning, also like watching film. You know what I mean? Like, I learned that pretty young. I believe maybe like the 6th grade, because my pops used to tell me things like, "Oh, you're doing this, you're doing that," and I'm like, "I don't think so." You know what I'm saying? I think I'm doing this. He's like, "All right, hold on." Yeah, so you start filming, and I watch. I'm like, "Damn, I get it." You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so film. I think film is a big deal, but like we said already, I think there's no experience like actual experience getting out there on the floor and playing. So
it's interesting you bring that up, Ox, because I specifically remember as a ball player, being locked in because I need to learn this. if I'm one of the better players on the floor, the last thing that I want to do is screw us up. That's the last thing that I want to do. And if I'm going to be on the floor, I need to be on the same page with you guys. I need to know what we're doing. And if I'm not paying attention, I don't know what we're doing. So when we get out on the floor, it shows. What I've always said, Ox, you know, you hear a lot of people talk about Jay-Z. I bring up Jay-Z as a reference because Jay-Z and Big, you know, they didn't write their rhymes down. But then you have other guys, right? You have other guys who don't write their rhymes down, and it sound like it. Like you actually have to, you actually got to go do your homework, my man. You got to pay attention. So when I get out on the floor, you can tell who's paying attention and who's not paying attention. You can tell who's doing their homework and who's not, who's watching film and who's not. And I think Jalen Green is one of those guys who's definitely watching film and is improving.
Right. Right. Definitely. Real quick, let me read a couple of super chats. We got one from my man, Alan R. He said, Luka getting back to form in time for the offs.
Interesting that it was just a couple of days ago that, you know, he wasn't that good and he was nursing injuries possibly, but just a couple of days later, you know, we get a couple of good games from him. And now, you know, Luka's getting back into form. Just so we clear, I think over the last like 10 games, Luka's averaging like 31-8. So this isn't anything new. Right? This isn't anything new what Luka's doing over these last couple of games. So like almost a month, Luka's been averaging like 31-8. So, I mean, Luka is Luka. Luka's game travels. And it does help him that a guy like James is making it clear that you have to play your game. I will get out the way, or I will conform to what you're doing. No doubt about that.
Yo, chill.
I know that sounds crazy.
That young man sure can't play some basketball.
Yes, he
that
can.
boy is good.
and I'm not a huge. Mars and I had this conversation about like not being a huge fan of a guy's game aesthetically, but understanding and appreciating somebody's game. That's where I'm at with Luka. I might not be in love with Luka's game, but I can tell you right now, it ain't too many that's better than him. I can tell you that right now. It ain't too many in the league that do what he does at the rate that he does. No.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, like, so I'm just looking at it from like my age right now. If I'm 34, 35, 36, you know, in my mid 30s, and I'm out there on the court and I see Luka Doncic coming out that tunnel, I'm gonna be like, God, I hate to see that boy coming.
Shit, if I'm 25, forget 35, I'm 25, and I'm on top of my game, and I'm in great shape. I'm in peak athletic form, and I see Luka, I'm like, fuck, all right, I gotta deal with him. Let's go. But
and then you got Bron coming too. Like, this is crazy. I mean, in the playoffs are upon us, y'all. Yep. I mean, the play-in starts on Monday, if I'm not mistaken.
Tuesday.
Okay, starts on Tuesday. So, I mean, it's here. The playoffs are here, and if Luka and Bron are both in top shape, you know, at peak shape right now, Austin Reeves is in peak shape. I think Rui might be getting back into it now. I mean. I just don't want to see them dudes coming. Chill. I really don't.
Well, Bron tweaked the groin last night. Just tweaked it. Sounds like it's something that's not a big deal. It sounds like it's not a big deal at all. He's not going to play tomorrow, and I think he's done for the rest of the regular season. They don't have anything else to play for. They got the third seed locked up. But I also want to double back on something that you said about viewership and highlights because I think we have even more fans today. Like when you talk about First Take, and you're talking about Fox News with Nick Wright, with us, with Playback TV. I think we have even more fans today off the strength that back when I was coming up, it was just clips on the news, the local news, by the way. ESPN wasn't as big a deal as it is, and the newspaper. So a lot of the stuff that we had to wait to get it from Stephen A. Smith with the Philadelphia Inquirer or the New York Post. We don't have to wait for that stuff anymore. We can light up YouTube and see 10-minute highlights. We can get all of that stuff now quickly from Twitter and things like that. So I think that the viewership doesn't count for that. And I think that the casual fan is slowly and surely, to your point, who doesn't have 2-3 hours to sit down and watch a game. I still think he's being implemented into the game even more today because he has that sort of access.
Right. Yeah, and I don't. That's what I was saying when he said that in the chat. I don't want to knock the guys that have to watch highlights and stuff. Like, I think there's a time and place for that. You know, like you can for like college guys and people like that. If you're in college and you're so busy, you know, I remember we used to come home from practice and it'd be late. We can't watch a whole game. And actually, it was Ron and Shaq who kind of put me up on No, the highlights are right here. You could watch every point scored on this, from this view, like for this channel right here or whatever. So it's like, okay, if you have to watch that, I think there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Like as long as you're getting engaged in the game some way, somehow,
Right.
I think that's pretty cool. Like I don't think, for instance, like for us that have to come up and talk about what happened, talk about the game. I don't think that's sustainable. I don't think we could just watch highlights of every game or watch highlights every night and then talk about basketball. I don't think we'd be given a fair view of what's actually going on. Yes. But if you just want to get engaged in basketball, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And like to your point, I remember being young and having to wait for the newspaper. Well, mind you, ESPN Sports and stuff like that. It was, when I was, in the early 2000s, late 90s, it was on. I could watch it, but the newspaper was still, we still used to have to check out the newspaper for scores and stuff like that. Especially like when I remember when my sister started playing high school ball, and I used to get the newspaper just to see, oh, there's my sister right there. That's how much she scored, stuff like that. So you could get high school ball, college ball, NBA, all of that. So. Right. I do think we're, technology is helping the game. I think. Yep. I think so. Even if it means that players have to hear a lot more nonsense, with the social media and like what we were talking about last night with Jaylen Brown and stuff like that. I think that's just a byproduct of it. It's just a part of growth. You know what I'm saying? There's always something part of growth. More super chats. Let's see. We got one from Adrian Mack. Oh, we know what Adrian's talking about. Guys, my team is in perpetual hell, and I don't know if the Bulls, will ever escape. They refuse to tank and want to sell out seats for a playing game. Bleak.
Well, here's the problem, Adrian, and I think that you, as a Bulls fan, can't see the forest past the trees. What I mean when I say that is, why do you need to tank? Number one, you got your point guard in Josh Giddey. I think you got your lead guard. Okay. You also have your future big in this kid Basellis. This kid Basellis is going to be a player. I love everything about him. Kobe White, I'm still, even though he was player of the month, I'm still not sure about him, but I think he's a formidable piece, right? And that's what you can build around. Now, what you don't want is, because you have all three of these guys, I don't want us to just suck. No. I mean, we're building something. Josh Giddey now has the ball in his hands. Kobe White, one of the better young scorers in the game. This kid Basellis is going to be one of the better transition players, better bigs in the game when his time comes. I think he's going to get better as time comes. I am in no way, shape, or form saying that with the three of these guys, we need to continue to tank to get a better pick. Oh, man, we're building something with what we have right now. 100% we're building something. Now it's just up to the organization, especially the front office and the general manager, to now put the necessary pieces around these guys, because I think you have the foundation in order to be a good team.
Yeah,
I do.
I'm really anti-tanking. I'm really anti-tanking anyway. Except for I guess y'all could say I've been supporting tanking because I said Anthony Davis shouldn't be playing. But besides that, I just don't like it. I think the Bulls might want to get better in their developmental department. If anything, I think they should. I think they've made some good picks. I think Bazellis is going to be a hell of a player. So I don't think the Bulls are in a bad spot. It might be a bad spot if you've been a Bulls fan forever and you're just like, man, when is my team going to get back to the glory days? Yeah. But you got to be patient in pro sports, man. You got to be patient. It's not like
keep going, Ox. Keep going.
No, that's all. It's just not like college. It's the pros. You got to be patient.
Well, what I do, I remember with the Atlanta Hawks in 21 when they hit that. I think that they hit their peak, and I think that that's going to happen at some point with the Bulls. And now you have to make a decision on how you upgrade this roster. In 21, when the Atlanta Hawks went to the East Finals, all right, that was it for this unit. Only except they ran it back, right? They ran it back, and everybody else got better, and they didn't. Mm-hmm. That's the problem. Well, we can't do that with the Chicago Bulls. But they had built something in Atlanta, right? They had built something with John Collins, with Trae Young, right? With Clinton Capella. They had built something with that group. Okay, now we have something. We're at the doorstep of getting better. We're at the doorstep of being a really good team. We're at the doorstep of that. Now it's time for us to improve. Only except they didn't do that. And now they find themselves back in the play-in tournament every year. Well, the logic with the Bulls, you actually have that in terms of a big three. You have that in terms of players who are developing, and you can see these guys grow. And Chicago is one of those cities, Ox. I've said this in the past. Chicago is a basketball city, and if you're honest with these people and letting them know, all right, we're not making the playoffs next year. We're not going to the NBA championship, but these are our pieces that we're building around. And when they see that, what they do is they get behind you. And then when this Chicago Bulls team ends up building and going deep into the playoffs where, they're in the semifinals, they're in the East Finals, luckily. Okay, well, now we're at the doorstep. Now it's time to upgrade this roster. Now, if you're going to stick with this present roster, or are you going to do something different? I mean, I think that's what Atlanta did. I think that's what the Chicago Bulls are different in the aspect that they have the place that a free agent wouldn't mind coming to. Like Chicago is 100% a basketball city, very much like New York.
Mm-hmm.
And if you end up in the East Finals in a couple of years, or make a deep playoff run, Chicago now looks like a more enticing place to play.
Yeah, and plus, I just don't know if the people in Chicago, how would they react to a 12-win season, a 15-win season, like just clearly tanking, and just people buying tickets, and you're just not trying to put out your best. Like would Chicago, the people in Chicago, would they respect that?
Yep. No, they won't, Ox. And even though I think Chicago is, if I'm not mistaken, Ox, they've been in the play-in tournament the last 3 years or so. I think over the last 4 years, they've been in the top 10 in the league in attendance because they've been competitive. Mm-hmm. They've been competitive. If you think for 1 second that if the Bulls were at the bottom of the league, like if they were Washington or if they were Charlotte, that the people in Chicago would keep showing up. No, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't. There is a competitive product on the floor. The Bulls aren't completely and utterly awful. No. They're building something up there. They are.
Right. I talked about him for a second. I want to bring up Anthony Davis. Last night, Anthony Davis is 3 blocks away from a quadruple double. 23 points, 13 rebounds, 10 assists, seven blocks. What if they've lost one game with him in the lineup since he's been there?
That's it.
2 games.
2 games. That's it. 2 games.
What is this? Okay, let me take care of this real quick. We got a spammer.
No problem.
Okay, that's quick. So what is the best case scenario for these Mavericks?
I think that you and I had this conversation yesterday, Ox. Number one, I love the way they're using Anthony Davis. But when you get traded, when you get traded for Jordan, when you get traded for Lajuan, you get traded in a prime, by the way, or you get traded for Magic, you're going to be overlooked. You're going to be the player that, what the hell are they doing? Not realizing that Anthony Davis, at the age that Anthony Davis is, still in his prime, still has some more years left, is still viable and still a piece that you can build around to possibly compete for an NBA championship. But because he got traded for Luka, it kind of goes by the wayside. I love how they're using him. I love that they use him in the high post. I love that they use him in pick and pop. I love how they use him in pick and dive. And I think the defense goes without saying on who Anthony Davis is. We all know Anthony Davis is arguably the best defensive player in the game. When you put pieces around him, the necessary pieces around him, a shooter, which they have in PJ Washington, which last night I'm watching him, Ox, he is very much the do-it-all player on the defensive end. People call him just a roamer. Anthony Davis is a fantastic one-on-one player. I'm sorry, Ox, that I can't slow down Joker. A lot of guys have had trouble doing that. Just so you know, I'm not the only one in the league who's had trouble slowing down Joker. And Rudy Gobert has had trouble slowing down Joker. Embiid has had trouble slowing down Joker. In fact, everybody in the league has had trouble slowing down Joker. So with that being said, I'm not in the minority with this. What I am saying, though, is I love how they're using him. The ceiling for this team in the playoffs is for them to be competitive. And you and I had this conversation yesterday, Ox. I want to see what we have. I want to see what we have. I understand, Ox, your apprehension because Anthony Davis has been a bit fragile this season, right? He ended up with the groin injury, and it kind of sat him down for a couple of weeks, I think a month and a half, and you don't want to mess with that. All right, I get that part, no doubt. But with that being said, what I don't want to do is I don't want to go away from what we're trying to accomplish. We do have 90% of this crew together. Herb is the only one missing. So I want to see what we have moving into the playoffs. And even if we are the eighth seed, right? Even if we are the 8th seed and we take the Oklahoma City Thunder to task where they end up giving us a game, we see what we have here and we can build off of that. All right, we on to something. PJ Washington is going to get better. Maybe I need to upgrade at the backup five with Gafford as a backup. Maybe I can keep him. Maybe he might be a little bit too expensive. Maybe I can upgrade at the 2 spot because I don't know how much longer I'm going to have Klay Thompson. I don't. I don't know how much longer I'm going to have him. So maybe I need to upgrade at that spot. With this all being said, I want to find all of this out at the highest stage. And I think that the ceiling for this team is probably a first-round exit. I would be very surprised if they bounced Oklahoma City. Ox, if they beat Oklahoma City, man, do we have something to talk about, which I think it's extremely unlikely, right? I think it's extremely unlikely. But I do think that you have your centerpiece in Anthony Davis. And the way that this team is constructed as a double big, defensive-minded team that's going to create a lot of problems on defense and convert that into offense. And I like what they're doing. And I like the way that they use Anthony Davis on offense. Because Anthony Davis, for all intents and purposes, he's a defensive player who can score. He's a defensive player first who can score. And if I'm building my unit around that, I have to put guys around him who are also on that page. And I think that's the way that they're going.
Right. I like this Dallas team. Of course, I like them when they have Kyrie. And I don't think it'd be a bad idea to make a couple moves this offseason just to shore some things up. But thinking about it though, Chill, and what if the front office and Jason Kidd, what if they just don't respect OKC? What if they don't look at OKC the same way a lot of other people look at OKC? What if they're like, no, we can get there, we can beat these dudes? You know what I mean? So if they feel that way and they're serious about that, more power to them. You know what I'm saying? More power to them. And with that being said, too, Chill, let's just go off a cliff with them. If they do knock off OKC, the chance in the arena switch up a little bit, y'all. I don't think, especially if AD's the one carrying them through that. I think the chance. I don't think we hear too much more of firing Nico.
Now, to double back to your point, Ox, just so we clear, if I'm not mistaken, Irv is the only one missing. Okay, you come off of you end up with Klay Thompson. Like Klay Thompson wasn't on that crew last year when he was in the NBA Finals, was he? No, he was in Golden State. Right. He was in Golden State. So PJ, Lively, Gafford, Anthony Davis has championship experience. You have Najee Marshall. So you have guys on this team that have some deep postseason experience. On top of that, Ox, you being a ball player, knowing you, do you think that the Oklahoma City Thunder, I'm pretty confident, do you think that the Dallas Mavericks are showing up to Oklahoma City like, all right, let's go ahead and take this ass whooping? No. They looking at these young boys like, let's get these dudes what they looking for. And let's see what they really made of. Jason Kidd is not trying to hear that, all right, they're the number 1 seed. They won 66, 67, 68 games. Let's just go ahead and take this ass whooping. No. There's some championship pedigree over there with a bunch of guys. So they're walking in that arena, even if a lot of us don't think that they have a chance, they walk in that arena with the idea that maybe we can give these dudes a run for their money. Let's find out. Even if we do get mopped, we're not trying to hear just walking in here and just getting our ass kicked.
Right. I don't think they're looking at it like either way though, Chill. With that being said, too, they need to go to Golden One first. They gotta,
yes, they do.
They got minutes to take care of first. They gotta come to Sacramento before anything.
Before we can get to there, we gotta deal with this first. This is not over.
Right. they can get ready for OKC after.
Right.
After they come to Sacramento. And then we'll see what happens. Chill. In other news, that first ballot Hall of Famer, Al Horford, has put himself in another category with Cliff Robinson, Rasheed Wallace, and Brooke Lopez. Now, I know y'all are all asking yourself, Cliff Robinson, Rasheed Wallace, Brooke Lopez, what could this possibly be? Well, these are the guys that have over 1,300 threes and 900 blocks. Al Horford is in a new ranking. What does that say about these 4 extremely great basketball players.
Well, first of all, this is your man, Ox. Like Al, this is your man. This is your guy. And when he shows up to the NBA, to be honest with you, Ox, I'm not thinking that much of Al Horford. I think he's going to be a player, but I'm not thinking that much of Al Horford. Meanwhile, when I'm not thinking about Al Horford as that much of a player, he consistently is showing up on the All-Star team. Every time I look at the All-Star team, 2 All-Stars, 3 All-Stars, 4 All-Stars, 5 All. He just consistently is on the All-Star team. I'm like, wait a minute, yo, this dude, Al Horford, I need to start paying more attention to him. He's consistently on the floor. Like we talked about with Jalen Green. This dude is always ready to play. And he's not one of those flashy players. He's not one of those guys that's playing above the rim. He's not a super duper athlete like Giannis, right? He doesn't run like Karl Malone. No, he doesn't do that. But I'll tell you what he is going to do. He's going to come on the floor. He's going to be out there for 30, 35 minutes. He's going to knock down that mid-range. He's going to eat glass. He's going to defend his ass off, and he's going to bring his lunch. And I tell you what, you better bring your lunch because he'll eat it. If you don't, you better bring yours. So the fact that he's improved the way he has, being the consummate dirty work guy, he falls into that category. For me, Ox, he falls into that category, and I think he's better, but he falls into that category of guys like Horace Grant, AC Green. Those are the guys that I'm thinking about that he falls into that category of. The consummate dirty work guy that you can depend on me every night. You don't have to worry about me not being available. I will be there, and you don't have to worry about me not showing up. There's not going to be one night when I'm not going to give you the stuff that's necessary in order for us to win. I'm going to get on the glass. Whoever I'm covering, more times than not, I'm going to win that matchup. I'm not going to get pushed around. I'm not going to allow us to get pushed around. One of the signature moments for me, and I vividly remember this. I remember they was in the playoffs against Milwaukee, and I remember Giannis dunked on him, and I remember Giannis was in his face talking to him, and Al Horford made it clear, we doing that? Okay. Okay, that's what we doing? Okay. And more times than not, if Giannis does that, guys are going to back down. Al Horford did not back down. In fact, not only did he not back down, Ox, he took it to Giannis. He took it right back to Giannis and ended up winning that game. And that's the kind of pro that he is. So I'm not surprised now of what Al Horford has turned into. What I am surprised at is how long he's been doing it. That's what I'm surprised at the most.
If I'm not mistaken, in that game, Chill, Al Horford came back and dunked on Giannis.
Boom. Threw him right in the first row. Threw him right in the first row.
And you know, one thing about Al Horford is it's the longevity. It's his ability to stay healthy. You know what I mean? Taking care of your body. It reminds me of like you said, AC Green, Kareem. I mean, I'm not trying to put Al Horford in Kareem categories, y'all. I know y'all know I love Al. I wouldn't do that. But what I'm saying is somebody that just takes care of themselves for that long. With LeBron doing what he's been doing, I think it makes us kind of overlook guys like Al Horford, Mike Conley, even KD, you know, who's had injuries, but he's still he's having a very long career. Jeff Green, you know what I'm saying? With these guys, I think Bron's kind of making us overlook this longevity of Al Horford as well. But I mean, Al Horford has shown us in his past 6-7 years, I'm not done yet. You know what I'm saying? Like he's win at Joel when Joel was looked at as his peak. He shut that down. He shut it down with Giannis. Al Horford's not just some old guy out there running around shooting corner threes.
No,
you know what I mean? He's rebounding, he's playing defense, he's moving his feet. He gets switched on the guards, he moves his feet. You know what I mean? He gets put on the block with guys like Joel and Jokic, and he bangs. You know what I mean? Yep. So I love Al Horford. Somebody said something about this stat, called it somewhat of an ESPN stat, and I can hear where you're coming from. But blocks and rebounds initially weren't a thing that typically went together, y'all. You know what I'm saying? So I did not know Cliff Robinson was going to be on this list. The first time that this was brought to my mind was Rasheed Wallace. We used to call Rasheed 100 blocks, 100 threes. That was we didn't use his name. That's 100 blocks, 100 threes, because you know that's what you're getting for him in the season. 100 blocks and 100 threes.
You know what I mean? Zach Randolph, kind of like Zach Randolph, like first name 20, last name 10. Like we ain't got to say his name. That's just him.
Right.
Okay.
You know who that is. 20 and 10 right there. She got 100 blocks, 100 threes. We know what we're getting from Sheed.
Yep.
And I always thought that was a big deal. And then when Brook Lopez kind of started stretching it out, hitting the threes, and Al Horford, I really enjoy these guys because they play, big defenders, shoot the ball well. I think some of these guys went a little underrated. I'm happy for Al Horford and shout out to him.
I don't think we talk about to your point, Ox. In order to get to this space, like there's a certain way that you got to conduct yourself. Cliff Robinson played 20 years in the league, yo. Shee Wallace played 18 years in the league. I think this, if I'm not mistaken, I think this is year 18 for Al Horford. Ox, it's a long ass time to be in the league. The average pro career is 4 years.
Right.
The average pro career is 4
I didn't know
years.
Cliff played 20. I didn't know he played 20 years.
Played 20 years. Yes,
I thought it was like 16, 17, 20.
Oh, Cliff Robinson played 20 years in the league. No doubt about it. He passed away. God rest his soul. He passed away. But Cliff Robinson, Shee Wallace retired in 13. That's 18 years in the league. He was in the league. Al Horford, this is year 18 that we in. He came in the year after. He came in 07. He came in with KD. I'm sorry. He came in the year after KD in 08 because they wanted Nope, he did come in 07 because they wanted in 06 and in 07. I take that back. So yes, so this is year 18 for him. So it takes a lot in order. It takes a lot in order to be in the league for this long. That's a big deal, yo. That's a big deal.
Yeah, man. This is great. It's a great career for Al Horford, and I've been pushing this first ballot Hall of Famer talk for a couple seasons now, and I need y'all, the viewers, the real NBA fans. I need y'all to get behind this. I need y'all to let the world know Al Horford is a first ballot Hall of Famer. First ballot. He got it done last year. He was pivotal in that team winning the ring last year. He wasn't along for the ride, y'all. This year, if they repeat, I need y'all to get behind this. It's not an agenda. It's a campaign. Okay. Al Horford, first ballot Hall of Famer. Y'all make sure we get behind that. Chill. We got another guy that's a first ballot Hall of Famer. And this guy's gonna get no pushback for that. In these past 10 games, y'all, I want y'all to listen to these and y'all tell me who you think this is. Bear with me. Last 10 games, we got 32, 11, and 15. 28, 11, and 5. 23, 13, and 10. 36, 15, and 10. 35, 17, and 20 assists. 37 and 11, 65% field goals. 31, 9, and 5. 39 and 7. 31, 10, and 5. 32, 17, 3. Last 10 games. Chill. I think Giannis is trying to say no Dame, no problem.
No Dame, no problem. Which is kind of weird because if you think about what Giannis has been doing all season, he's been doing this. I mean, the assist total, he's averaging three more assists than he normally averages. He averages almost 7 assists a game. But over this stretch, Ox, that averages out to 31.5, 12.5, and 10 assists and 9 assists. For the season, he's 30. I think he's 30. I think he's 30 or 31 a game. He's 10 rebounds or 11 rebounds, 31, 10 rebounds, and 6.5 assists. So the fact that Giannis has been doing this is why I think that this is the best NBA season that I've ever seen. Because very much like what was going on in 62 with what Chamberlain was doing and Bill Russell being 18 and 22. I mean, the fact that we don't talk about Elgin Baylor, who went 40 and 20 that year almost. He went 38 and 18. It's almost 40 and 20. Giannis is 31, 11, and almost 7, and we ain't even talking about it. It's not even a conversation because of what SGA is doing, because of what Joker is doing, right? Because of LeBron James at 40 years old doing what he's doing in Los Angeles. The fact that Steph Curry and the Warriors with Jimmy Butler have been resurrected. Meanwhile, we got this freak of nature in Milwaukee doing what he's doing, and it's going by the wayside, which, by the way, Ox, I wanted to tell you because this is bothering me. All I hear from people is, yo, Giannis has to get out of there. Giannis has to get out of there. Giannis has to get out of there. I think that's a cop-out from the fans. And the reason why I feel like that's a cop-out is because you're letting these organizations off the hook. Make them do their job. You don't get generational players regularly. In fact, you get generational players exactly like that. Once every generation, You don't get generational players every 2 or 3 years. When you get a generational player, you build around him. And I know that you didn't like this trade at all. I still needed to see it. What I thought though is I thought that the Milwaukee Bucks were showing that we're not just sitting on our hands. We're gonna do something, right? We're gonna do something to show that we're trying to win. I'm not buying this whole logic. Yo, Giannis is out of there. I'm not trying to hear that. You got a generational player. Keep building around this kid, right? Keep building around this guy and get better. Don't just let this Milwaukee Bucks organization off the hook and Giannis can get out of there and let them go by the wayside. No, I'm not trying to hear that. You have an all-time great talent who's in his prime. I think Giannis got 3 or 4 more years left at this level before he starts to slow down. And I'm not trying to hear you just throwing him away. Not throwing him away. Throwing him away isn't the phrase I want to use. I'm not trying to hear just shipping them off and letting Milwaukee off the hook. Milwaukee has actually done a damn good job building around him. They won a championship with him. They had some misfortune, which you need, Ox. You need some fortune in order to win. And the fact that they ended up having some misfortune with Middleton breaking down, right? With Middleton breaking down, they were still back. They were still a championship contender. They end up trading for Dame, who had a career year the year that they traded for him. He was 32-8. You can still, we can still rectify this thing. This thing, I don't think is over. I said it was a 3-year window. I think by next year, I think that we have to find a way to get some more players. I think we have to find a way to get some more players in here to keep Giannis, not just keep him in Milwaukee, but to keep this team as a championship contender. And I think that Milwaukee can do that because they've done a fine job in building around him. I think they have.
Yeah. Zero just vibing tends to disagree with you, Chill, on this topic. He says it's that market, Chill. He needs to leave.
No, he doesn't. No, he does not. There's nothing wrong with being in Milwaukee. The fact that, like I said, they built that, they upgraded they upgraded Bledsoe for Drew Holiday. Middleton had been there for as long as Giannis has been there. They ended up getting Brook Lopez because the Lakers just handed him over, just let him walk out the front door. So they ended up getting him. And I feel like they milked this thing for as long as they could. They got to upgrade at the 5 spot. They ended up grabbing Bobby Portis when they grabbed him, which was a huge addition to what they were doing. So it's obvious that they got a competent front office, right? It's obvious that they got a competent front office. It's just a matter of continuously building that thing around your generational player. That's the most important thing. And with them grabbing Dame, which is unfortunate that he got hurt with this blood clot issue, I don't think that sinks them. And what I mean when I say sinks them, I don't think that sinks them completely in the future. No, if this thing is rectified, if we can fix this thing with Dame, we still have a chance. This season, I don't think so. But we can still fix this thing in the future. We don't have much time, but we can still fix this thing in the future instead of just throwing this away and just letting Giannis move on. Nah, I ain't trying to hear that.
Mm-mm. Right. Melo Williams has been a member for 15 weeks. Shout out to you, Melo. Says KPJ is a great addition. Ryan Rollins balling too.
And this kid AJ Green, the sharpshooter that they have, he's awesome. He is awesome. Now I think that it's time to move on. It may be time to move on from Connaughton. 100% it is.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And the backup point guard you guys have, the backup point guard they have in Milwaukee, I feel like they're doing some things. I'm just not ready to hand over Giannis yet. No, I'm not.
Right. I saw somebody say Giannis to Atlanta. I would kind of like that.
Of course. Giannis
I would actually kind of like that.
Giannis with Trae Young. Hell, who wouldn't like that?
Right.
Hell yes.
Right. In other news, Chill, we know that there's been some recent firings of head coaches, and they've been taking over for their head assistant. The head assistant has been sliding in there. Two well-known guys in the basketball world, well-respected guys, are taking over at the helm. But it's been reported that the Nuggets have been in talks with your guy, Coach Hurley from UConn. How do we feel about that? Do we think Coach Hurley is finally ready to get to the league? We heard whispers about, wasn't too much whispers. It was actually real talks, real money talk was had for him to come to the Lakers, and ultimately decided to keep his talents in the college ranks. But do you think that this would be a good move for him, a good move for the Nuggets? And what are we expecting? Could this get serious?
I think he always wanted to coach in the NBA. I think the NBA has always been the ultimate goal for him. I just don't think the Laker job was for him. I don't think that was the job that I think he used that job to get a bigger paycheck with UConn, and it worked. Gotcha. It 100% worked. But Now we're in a space where it has to make sense. I mean, I've grown up around I've grown up around Coach Hurley, and I know him. I'm pretty confident in who the Hurley family is, and just like a firefighter, just like a lawyer, just like a painter, and that's the family business. For the Hurleys, basketball is the family business. So you can't just throw a bunch of money at me and the situation not be copacetic for me to say, okay, I'm doing it just for the money. No, it has to make sense on a bunch of different levels. Now, this Denver Nuggets team moving to Denver, considering what they have with that group, the CBA may cause you to look a little bit differently at this roster. But I think Coach Hurley being the X and O guy that he is, we gotta clean up the fiery way about him, because we just had that with Mike Malone, and that kind of wears on guys. Ox. You know, that's something that, you know, you can have that for a while, and then eventually it wears guys down. And the good thing about it is you being able to go to the pros and be on a team that's a playoff team, that's a playoff contender. You could always go back. He could always go back to school at some point, whether it's in the NBA and he's there for 3 or 4 years and it works, but then he just wants to go back to school. It happens. It 100% happens. He could definitely go back to college, but the mutual interest between these two, I don't hate it at all. I don't. I think Dan would be a great coach in the NBA. I think that he'd be really good with Joker. The way Joker, his skill set, I mean, Danny played point guard. So him running his offense through a guy like Joker and running the offense the way it needs to be ran, having a big guy with the point guard skills and the vision that Joker has, I think he'd be a great addition to that Denver Nuggets squad. Yes.
Okay. Okay. I remember when the Lakers job was going on, you were kind of saying that you think the Lakers position might be a little too West Coast. I think that was the term you might use, a little too West Coast for Coach Hurley. Do you think that Denver is a different situation as far as that goes?
I feel like it's a situation in Denver that's more suited to him, because Denver is more of a Rocky Mountain, like dirty work kind of town, and that's kind of who that's kind of who Coach Hurley is. Like Los Angeles, a lot of glitz, a lot of glam, a lot of distractions out there, like and more of the other stuff and less basketball. Coach Hurley is one of those guys, more basketball and less of the other things. And Denver is very much like that. On top of that, with his family and the community, I think that he would mesh in really well there.
Right. Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that, y'all. And you know, as news comes, we'll give it to y'all. No doubt. The East is set. The playoff picture is what it is. It's not moving anymore. We know what's going on. And with that being said, I think Darius Garland wanted to make a statement last night. He turned the lights out on dudes last night. We were watching it on playback, and it was just
he did, Ox.
It was ridiculous. I'm talking about it's about 8 to 10 possessions straight just of the Darius Garland show, and they could do nothing with him. I mean, Jalen Brunson was a cone. Mikal Bridges, a cone. He was in there finishing with the trees, hit a big 3-ball from a couple feet behind the line. Darius Garland, he had that. It was that oil. He was glowing. It was glowing like it was crazy. You could see it. Like, oh, there's nothing they can do with this kid. He's gonna do what he wants to do. How do we feel about Darius Garland turning the lights out on the Knicks, and what will this mean stepping into the playoffs? Is he going to keep this going? Does Darius Garland plan on putting the Cavs on his back?
Well, he's not going to have to. And last night was indicative. You and me had this conversation, Knox, about LeBron James and Kevin Durant in 2017 in the NBA Finals when KD looked at James and said, that dude you saw in the NBA Finals 5 years ago, this ain't the same dude that's standing in front of you today. Nah, it's a different dude. Well, Darius Garland looks like a different dude than what he was 2 years ago when they played the Knicks and those lights were so bright. He looks like a completely different player. He's way more aggressive. He's smarter. He's a much better finisher. He takes better shots. We had this conversation last night about, in terms of ball handlers, like you gave me a bevy of ball handlers, a bunch of guys who nice with the pill, who take care of the basketball. I'm thinking to myself, all right, well, that's fair. How many guys in the league are better than Darius Garland taking care of the ball. And when I think about that, my criteria is, where are you going with the basketball? How do you take care of the basketball? Do you pay attention to the offense? Do you go to the right people? Do you know your personnel? How often are you turning the basketball over? And when I think about that, I'm not sure if there's 5 guys that I can name that are better with the basketball than Darius Garland. And last night, he took it upon himself. He took it upon himself to take over that game at the end. You can't stay in front of me, Jalen Brunson. Mikal Bridges, I'm going to use this high pick and roll. I'm going to use this high pick, and I'm going to get downhill, and I'm going to get into the teeth of the defense. I'm going to use my floater. I'm going to get to the rim when I'm on the weak side of the floor. I'm going to get to my weak hand, and you're not going to do anything to stop me. Ox, when he does that, what he does is he gives that Cavs team a different level of confidence, because now Darius Garland is letting Donovan Mitchell know that I'm here with you. And Donovan Mitchell is going, this is what I was talking about last year. This is what I was talking about 2 years ago. This is what's going to help us propel. This is what's going to propel us in order for us to get to the next level. You playing like this, because I'm going to do my thing. You've seen me in the playoffs get busy. You've seen me go for 50. You've seen me in Game 7 go for 40. You've seen me do that. When you got it going like that, we're going to be impossible to deal with. And we're going to be really difficult to deal with. And I loved it from him last night. On top of that, Ox, these how many losses the Knicks have against the top teams in the league.
Mm-hmm.
These how many wins they have against the top teams in the league. Unfortunately, that puts the Knicks at 0-10. 4 straight against the Knicks. 4 straight against the Celtics. 4 straight against the Cavs. Against Oklahoma City, 0 wins. 0. And I think they lost to Houston twice too. So, I mean, I think they're 0-10. 0-10 is against the better teams in the league, Ox. I'm not Houston. I take that back. It's just Oklahoma City, the Cavs, and the Celtics. 0-10, Ox.
Well, that's not a good look at all. That's actually a very bad look. Excuse me, y'all. Let's get to the lobby. Let's see what the people got to say about Darius Garland turning the lights off and, whatever else they got. Breezy, what's going on, fam?
What up?
I'm chilling, man. I'll be quick. I know I know Chill always chill with Big Ox. Chill, you chilling with a villain right now. Now I gotta say that for the Knicks to do everything they did to get McCallum, OG, and Cat, they not living up to it. And that's not just in the win column. They changed their whole identity. And I've seen Mikal Bridges miss. He fumbled the ball in the corner versus Boston, and then where was he last night? You know what I'm saying? And it's just fun to see. It's not awful to see. It's fun to see. You know what I mean? I think Detroit beats them in that first round in 6. And I say in 6, Chill, because I don't think it goes back to MSG. I think once Detroit, I think they swept. No, they beat the Knicks 3-1. So I know y'all just said, versus the toughest teams, they were 0-10, but they lost to the Pistons 3-1 this season. So I thought that was interesting. But what I really came up here, besides to troll them, I wanted to ask Chill this because I thought this was interesting. Now, Jordy Fernandez, as you know, was a assistant coach with Mike Malone from 2016 to 2022. He just missed out on an NBA championship, and then he went to the Kings. Of course, Hawks knows that. And my thing is, they calling Derek Queen the Black Jokic. I don't know if you heard that. He's a play out of. Yeah, maybe that's a stretch. But I'm saying that to say with Jordy Fernandez getting Zach Edey in the national game, that's the one thing he could do when he took over for Nick Nurse. He got Zach Edey. And then the next thing he did, and also you seen him play with Sabonis with Sacramento. Yep. So my question to you is, do you think that the Brooklyn Nets should focus on a big man for the draft, or maybe not?
I wouldn't be surprised, considering, one, you go with what you know, Breezy. What I mean when I say that is he coached with Mike Malone, so it worked with it worked with Joker, and then he was in Sacramento with Sabonis. That's the archetype. Okay, I want to build my unit around a player like that. So that's what I'm the most comfortable with. So I wouldn't be surprised if Jordy Fernandez kind of got that kind of kind of got that kind of player, a big man that I can run my offense through, an exceptional passer, a guy who can score in the box, a guy who can also knock down a mid-range shot, who's great in transition. I think that him knowing that, he can build his offense around a guy like that, and he can just be successful. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something like that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yo, thank you, Chip.
Like that. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Yo, I love the show. Y'all know I'm in the chat. I love the show.
Absolutely,
Thank you, man.
No
Later, y'all.
brother. No
All
doubt.
All right, buddy.
You kind of stick to you've coached before. You kind of stick if you got a point guard that's a speedy point guard and that's what you used to having, you know, a guy that can get to the rim, but a guy that's an exceptional passer on top of that. Well, when you move on, that's kind of your archetype in terms of coaching, right? This is what you want to have moving forward because that's your best coaching style. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if I would not be surprised if they did that in Brooklyn, where we kind of got this kind of player. That wouldn't surprise me. No.
That's I can hear you on that, Chill. But with that being said, I've never heard anybody call Derek Queen Black Jokic. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying Breezy hasn't heard it. I'm saying I haven't heard it. But I mean, I like the kid. I just don't know if he's that good. I don't know if he's that good, but
on top of that, you know, finding the Joker archetype is a lot easier said than done. So
right,
I mean, this ain't something that, you know, Jokers is just sitting around like, all right, I'll take that one right there. No, it's really hard to find guys like that. Really hard.
And also, with that being said, too, I meant to bring this up on the panel yesterday. Mm-hmm. And it's about Kenny Atkinson because I'm not saying I disagree with what you just said about, you know, having your archetype and you like this guy and, you know, you want to coach those type of guys. But I think the best coaches, the very best coaches, are the coaches that can adapt.
Sure.
Kenny Atkinson, he said that when he got to Cleveland, he decided, you know, basically he decided, I'm gonna coach. You know, coach gonna coach. I'm gonna move my system around these guys instead of having these guys fall into line with what I think is the right way to play or what I want. I'm gonna figure out what these guys are good at. And even what they might not be very good at, and I'm gonna help them get better at that and adjust to their style of play. And when I heard him saying that, I was just like, man, I always really like Kenny Atkinson.
Yep.
But it's things like that that make me like coaches more. Coaches that are eager to coach. You know, coaches that want to coach. You know what I mean? I love that. I love coaches, Chill. I just love coaches. You know what I'm saying? And when you got a guy like that, gotta love it.
What's the old saying? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. No, if it ain't broke, don't break it. If y'all got something going on in here and it's working, I'm not gonna come in here and throw a monkey wrench in it because I want to coach my style. Well, wait a minute. Okay, sure. I would like to implement the way I coach, but you clearly got something that's working here. And we don't have to tear this down. I can bring some of what I do in, but I don't want to completely tear down what you guys got going on here. So when he gets that Cleveland job, okay, you got a big, that's a really good ball handler that can knock. He's showing the potential that he can knock down shots. Okay, let's stick with that. Let's enhance that. Deere and Jared Allen, who runs the floor. I got a point guard who's really good in transition, one of the better ball handlers in the league. Okay, I don't have to switch up a lot here. Okay, let's enhance what we already got going on here. We don't have to do anything in particular to throw a monkey wrench in this. I've always felt like this when it came to coaches, Ox. The best coaches are the ones who, whatever you know how to do, let's do that. What you don't know how to do, let's get rid of that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Who we got next week? Okay, we got Bama. What's up, Bama?
What's good, y'all?
Yes, sir.
What's good, Unc? What's good, Ox? Like I said, man.
What's up?
One up what Breezy said. Best show on PC, man. Two of the most knowledgeable fellows on here. And I ain't just saying that. I really mean that, dog. I don't think people understand just what the type of personality it takes just to be two people up there. You know what I mean? Like it's pretty smooth. And how you know what I mean? How you put your thoughts together. It's pretty. I respect it. Word. All right, just to get up in here, I'm gonna move right along. Got a few questions wrote down. Unc, I want to say, man, thank you, man, because I started watching Jason Tatum because of you, and I actually like that dude. That dude. He's good. I say this. The only thing I say about Jason Tatum, he do bail people out with them sidestep threes, but he's good. I ain't gonna lie, he a basketball player, like what Ox say. He a real basketball player.
What I equate it to, Bam, is like me introducing you to my chick. You ain't gonna like anything about her, but once you get around her, you're gonna dig her, and you're gonna see why I dig her. You're gonna see why I dig her, and then you're gonna start digging her too. Like, all right, I see what you see. Word,
because it speaks a lot to who he is, because he allows Brown to get off. The type of superstar you got to be to allow another dude to get off, like what Curry did with KD. Like that's pretty respectable about that dude. How y'all feel about Denver firing their coach right before the playoffs, dude? Because Ox, you brought up, it take patience in the NBA, and I'm thinking about Denver. I'm thinking about what y'all talking about with the Milwaukee Bucks want to get up off of Giannis. I'm thinking about the Suns. In my head, all of these teams was just in the finals within a span of 3 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And to see the Suns just completely just go down south, and to see the Nuggets want to come up off of their coach, I'm so confused, because I thought they gave y'all the results of what y'all want. I feel like injuries is all in the game, and I feel like the only reason is because of injuries is why they didn't have the success. The Suns more so they gave up too much for Beal, but how y'all feel about that?
I think a lot of people jump the gun, and they do that in management too. So with the Denver Nuggets, I mean, the fact that they end up coming off of Mike Malone when they came off of him, it's unprecedented. And it's something that I still don't understand. But I said to the fellas, we could have a trend. What I mean when I say we could have a trend, same thing with the Memphis Grizzlies. Let the Denver Nuggets make a deep run in the playoffs. Let the Memphis Grizzlies make a deep run in the playoffs. This might turn into something, Bama, where, you know what? Let's go with this guy a month left in the season, which is unprecedented. We live in the results-based society, and everything is right now. And if the Denver Nuggets end up making a deep run in the playoffs, some teams are going to look at this like, you know what? You've taken us as far as you can take us. Okay, let's let this guy take over, and maybe we could do what they did. I think it's unprecedented. I think you're playing with fire. I think you stick with who got you here. I don't think the Denver Nuggets think that they can win it. I think that's why they came off of Mike Malone. I think they scratch in this season. And if they end up going deep in the playoffs, it's going to completely make them do a 180. Like, well, maybe we did do something right. So maybe we should have got off of Mike Malone a little bit quicker.
All right, I'm a college guy. I just want to ask, man, did y'all watch that national championship? And how do y'all feel about how that last shot played out? To me, I just feel like that just shows the gap between the NBA and the NCAA, because they would have got a shot off. I didn't feel right seeing him not get a shot off. And then right before that, he goes for the dribble drive, get the ball swiped from him. It's just back to back. Like, why would you even? I don't know. How do you feel about that?
I can't stand, Ox and I have had this conversation, I can't stand teams that get teams in the chokehold and then let them up. I know that this is a game of runs, but when you get a team down, especially in that kind of atmosphere, you can't let them up, man. You can't. And the fact that Houston had Florida in the hole, they had these dudes in the chokehold twice, Bama, not once, twice, and they let them back in it. I think that's the mark of a great team, is what Florida is, where they kept fighting. They kept doing what they kept doing what got them back. They kept doing what got them to the national championship. They had the best player on the floor in Clayton Jr. With them having the best player on the floor and them hanging around, that's what ended up propelling them to being national champions.
I think sometimes when you'll watch and you'll see a player mess up because they're looking for something perfect. And it's like in these type of high pressure, high intensity moments, you're not gonna, or I'm not gonna say you're not, but it's gonna be very rare, because the other team, they understand what's going on right now as well. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be hard to find something perfect. You in those type of situations, you got to take what you can get more often than not. And I think looking for something perfect sometimes forces you to turn the ball over or get yourself in unfortunate situations.
Appreciate y'all, man. I just want to shout out, man, chat. If y'all could pull up Tuesdays at 6 p.m. That's me from the logo. Hayes, Gifted, ZZ. Y'all are like them dudes too. And it'll lead me to our last question, man. When can we get y'all on From the Logo for 30 minutes, 45 minutes? The whole show, come kick it with us. Like when can we expect y'all?
I'll see if I can work something out. Yeah, I'll see if I can work something out.
Yeah.
All right, family, man.
Me and Zizi was just talking last week, man. I love From the Logo, man. I'll be there anytime.
Yeah, man. You know, I'm a casual, man. You know, kick it with us.
Yes, sir. Yes,
All right,
sir.
y'all, man. All love, fellas. Good,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Love the
Good to
show.
talk to you, Bama. You know where to find us at, brother.
Yes, sir.
No doubt.
Yeah, right on, man. Shout out from the logo, man. It's a great show. Y'all make sure y'all check that out. Who we got next? Actually, wait 1 second. We gotta get some super chats. We got one from Rock Out Deuce. My Grizzlies just gave up the damn game. I'm sick.
No, y'all didn't. Y'all didn't. Y'all did not just give up that game. Unfortunately, Denver down the stretch. I mean, I saw what they did. Denver just down the stretch was better. I thought y'all did a terrible job defending. And Zach Edey, he does look out of place from time to time. He does. And I was wrong about Memphis. I had them as a top 3 seed, which they were at one point, like not too long ago, and then it just all went to pieces. It all went to pieces. So they got some work to do. They do. They have some work to do. We're gonna find out what they made of with this playing tournament.
Yeah, definitely. And I know, Deuce, I know you said what you said in a super chat the other day after I said what I said about Memphis. And hey, we both lost tough ones last night, man. It happens. It happens. But
that one last night with the Clippers, I thought y'all had them, Ox. I thought y'all had them.
Me too. But either way, Deuce, I think we'll be seeing y'all soon. So be ready for that. Let me see who we got next. Oh, Classic. Yo, what's up, Classic?
What up?
Yo, what up, guys?
What's up?
What's up? Yeah, man, I'm so glad that I'm pulling for Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves. I'm so glad that the Warriors and Clippers are playing each other tomorrow because it's pretty much impossible. If the Timberwolves win, then they pretty much get a lock for that 6th seed. But I don't think they deserve it, man. They really disappointed me with some of the losses that they have. But I'm still root for them. And with Anthony Edwards, man, like after that game when he had what was the last game where he dropped like 40 something? It was
When
against
they
the Grizzlies.
played Memphis. They played
Yeah,
Memphis, and he
and
had
he was like,
44.
"Yeah, man, my trainer he had me watching Michael Jordan highlights." And I'm like, "Man, you don't need to be watching that, man. You need to be watching Steph Curry highlights and Reggie Miller highlights because I've seen you do like the stuff similar to Jordan, but you can't like you need to learn how to play off the ball because every time a team runs like a zone or they start pressuring him with the ball, the Timberwolves can't do nothing, and then they start giving up leads. But earlier in the season, I saw Anthony Edwards. He was running off screens and then and catching and shooting the ball, and I was like, man, I've never seen this from Ant. And I thought that they were going to continue to do that, but then he just keeps wanting the ball and wanting the ball, and I'm like, man, you have to get off the ball. And I understand he wants to score because he's young, but I'm like, you can score more off the ball because of how great you're a shooter now. You put in so much work in this offseason to work on your shot. Why not use it?
That's kind of what young players are. Kobe was like that when he was younger, and he's on record talking about how when he was younger, how he used to chase the ball. He consistently chased the ball, and he didn't realize until he got smarter and his game started to slow down that, okay, the ball's going to come to me. I just got to put myself in space where I can score effectively when the ball comes to me. I don't have to chase it. That's why, like you just said, Steph Curry, like you said Steph Curry and you said Reggie Miller. I'm going to take it a step further than that. A guy that I've been the biggest fan of, if Anthony Edwards went and watched some Joe Dumars film, Joe Dumars is a perfect comp to watch a guy playing off the basketball, a guy who's not going to chase the ball, a guy who's going to let the game come to him. But when it does come to him, he knows exactly where to be. He knows exactly what shot he wants to get to. And on top of that, I wouldn't be surprised because Ant Edwards did say that he was watching some Luka film. I wouldn't be surprised if next season he came back as a better passer. That wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, like I told y'all like some months ago, I think he's the best shooter in the league. I think he's better than Steph Curry right now, and I think he needs to use that to his advantage so
Wow.
he could take his team further. Because this driving into the lane with 3 people, I know you can do that, and that's cool to watch. But your shot is so dominant now, he need to start using that more. And I think that's what's going to take them further in the playoffs this year.
Well,
Is
we've
if he
seen
shoots.
guys. Well, we've seen guys classic, because this is what I don't want to do. I don't want to jump off the cliff with him, because is this what we saw with Anthony Edwards? Is this just season, kind of like what happened with Joker last year, when Joker's jump shot kind of went the other way. Well, same logic with Anthony Edwards. Even as a young guy, is this what I'm gonna look forward to with Anthony Edwards? Is he this kind of shooter, or is he gonna level off into like a 38, 39, between a 37 and a not 37, 38 and a 41% long ball shooter? Is he going to be something like that? Like, I'm not sure if this is him as a shooter. I just think that this is a guy who's improved. And to say that he's the best shooter in the league right now, I mean, I don't think that he's a better shooter than Steph Curry. I don't think that his shot diet is what Steph Curry's is. I don't think that he shoots with the consistency. Even today, I don't think that he's as nearly as dangerous as Steph Curry is as a shot as a shooter. No.
But
Yeah,
you
Chill,
right,
whatever
Chill.
you think he may be, Chill. Whether you think it's 37 or if you think this is an up year, down year, whatever he may be, I can tell you one thing: he's not. He's
That's
not Steph Curry. That's what I know. I know that much.
No. No
Yeah,
way.
see, I feel like y'all just saying that because he's made the most threes in the league this year. And you talking about shot diet, Chill. I think if Anthony Edwards took more of Steph threes, he would make more. I think
No,
Steph
he
get
wouldn't.
better looks. Chill, yeah,
No, he
chill.
wouldn't.
Those shots that Steph be
Mm-mm.
hitting, they do be crazy sometimes, but sometimes it's like he be in such a rhythm. It's like how can you miss that when you catch it the way he's catching it? But Anthony Edwards, sometimes he's taking like these real difficult threes. He's dribbling, and he's got the athleticism to do that, Chill. But if he was to catch and shoot more like Steph, he
Yep.
would hit. He would hit the same amount. He would hit. I mean, he's already done it this year, so I don't even know what
So
I'm
Classic,
saying.
I
They
want you
basically
to
made the
I
same
want
amount
you
of
to
threes this year.
I want you to keep the same energy, not just for a long ball shooter in. I want you to keep the same energy for like Luke Kennard. I want you to keep the same energy, not just for Luke Kennard. I want you to keep the same energy for rebounders. If I lead the league in rebound, am I the best rebounder in the league? If I lead the league in scoring, am I the best scorer in the league? Because I think when you go with totals, I think that you're sliding down a slippery slope, brother. You are. You're sliding down a
But
really
it's
slippery
not just
slope
the
when you do
totals
that.
though, Chill. It's the difficult shots that he's consistently made this year.
And those aren't what Curry's are. Those shots are not what Steph Curry's are. No way. But I know we got to get moving.
Let me tell you why real quick, because Classic, we do got to keep moving, but I do want to just this statement. And this is how I look at basketball. I think the fact that you're getting easier shots, or what you consider to be easier shots or better looks, is a part of being a better shooter. Steph Curry moving off of the ball the way he does, catching the ball, ready to shoot, moving to open spots, getting better looks. Getting better looks makes you a better shooter. Getting better looks is a skill, especially when you're guarded the way Steph Curry is. Imagine letting Steph Curry be open. You know what I'm saying? They're not just letting him be open. He's getting open.
Right.
Shooting open shots is such a skill that makes you such a better shooter. When Anthony Edwards understands that and gets to the off-ball movement that guys like Steph Curry have, then I think I might be able to have this conversation with you, Classic, honestly.
Right, and they're starting to guard Anthony Edwards like Steph Curry, which is why I think he needs to get off the ball more. But yeah, I appreciate you guys having me
All right,
on here,
brother.
man. Y'all
Good to
gonna
talk
see in
to
the
you.
playoffs what I'm talking about.
Well,
I'm gonna be
Edwards
watching.
he's a playoff riser, so I won't be surprised to see him get busy in the playoffs. That's not going to surprise me at all. So good to talk to you, brother.
No
All right, you guys have a good
All right,
one.
Classic.
Yep.
Yes, sir. You know one thing I like to think that I sometimes say things that people are scared to say. Sometimes I think I try to push it a little bit. Let me say what I really feel. Let me not beat around the bush, because a lot of people would be afraid to say that because they might get pushback from the chat, from the viewers, from subscribers.
Ox, that's what we live, bro.
Embodies that. Classic embodies that. He's gonna say what's on his mind. I love it.
That's what we live. We live in that kind of society where I'm gonna say something that you thinking, but you scared to say it. I'll say it. I won't back off of it. I will say it. Yes, I will.
Right. Okay, let me see. We got some more people here. Let me see. Oh, Vale. What's up, Vale? You there?
What up?
How y'all living, man?
What's up, brother?
Oh man, just good show always. Good show as always, man. I just had to tap in and ask a question real quick.
Yep.
I wanted to get you guys' opinion on the MVP race. Like, how would a SGA MVP age maybe in the future? Chill, you brought up the 62 season, and Russell won MVP that year.
Yep.
And I think as time went on, a lot of people looked at, like how you brought up Elgin Baylor almost being 40 and 20,
Yep.
Wilt averaging 50 and 25, Oscar was a triple-double. I think a lot of guys look at that season.
Bob Pettit went almost 30 and 20 that year too.
Right.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of people look at that season and they may question why Russell won it because they weren't there. You know, as
Right.
years go on, context tends to get removed from
Sure.
the situation.
Mhm.
So I look at SGA, obviously him potentially leading the race at this point. I think most people would have it like that. I'm not fighting that.
Mhm.
But I feel like it's about 20, 25 years maybe. People are going to look back and see that a guy was 30, 12, and 10, maybe top 5 in the league in points, top 5 in the league in rebounds, top 5 in the league in assists,
Mhm.
top 5 seed in the Western Conference.
Mhm.
And I
He
think we're going
didn't
to
win the
start.
league MVP. He didn't win it. Really?
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Only 2 other guys did this. He's the first center in NBA history to do it.
Yeah.
And I think guys are going to start underappreciating what
I,
SGA has done.
and that's why younger guys like you in
Mhm.
25 years are necessary because you were here to see it.
Right.
And you're going to be able to tell younger people what this was. Same logic with Steve Nash. As good as Bryant was, as good as LeBron James was, as good as Dirk was, like people don't talk about how good of an offensive player that year, those 2 years that Steve Nash played in the NBA. Now, was Bryant a better player than him? Yes.
Mhm.
Was Dirk a better player than him? Yes. However, when we're talking about the league MVP, I know that it doesn't always go to the best player. What I do know is the guy who's playing the best at that time and is affecting winning. We can't let that go by the wayside. And what Anthony Evans, I'm sorry, what SGA has done this season, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, guy averaging almost 33 a game, 5 and 5, almost 2 steals on a team that won 67 games, 68 games. Nah, that can't go by the wayside. Even considering what Joker did. Considering what Joker did, that can't go by the wayside. We have to look at that like, damn, he was 33, 5 and 5 on a team that won almost 70 games. He was balling. Because we do the same thing with James Harden, with that Houston team that won
Right.
65 games. And he was averaging what he was averaging, over 30 plus a game. So no, I don't think that people are gonna look at it like they've looked at league MVPs in the past in a negative way as much, because SGA, especially considering that they go deep in the playoffs, I don't think they're gonna look at it like that.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of times the playoff runs tend to
Yep.
aid MVPs. I'm just sitting here thinking, I know a lot of box score watchers.
Yes.
They're gonna look back and those, even in the Giannis case, you know, Giannis numbers, y'all spoke on it earlier, how he's been balling, losing his mind. I think people are gonna look back at his season out of context and just appreciate. What I would say is people tend to individualize the seasons a lot more as time
Today.
goes on.
Because I think people seeing it more. That's why you have more access to what's going on today. Like back then, you couldn't really, not even with Phoenix. I mean, you couldn't really see. I didn't get a chance to see as many games as I'd like. I didn't get a chance to see Stockton as much as I'd like, or Olajuwon as much as I'd like. But I was able to see them enough that I could form an opinion on them. But today, I get to see these guys way more, so I can individualize them. Right? I can say that dude is better than that dude because I've seen 64 of their games this year. I've seen 82 of their games. I can individualize these guys a lot more than I could in the past.
Right. That's all I have, fellas. I appreciate
brother.
y'all perspective always.
Good to talk to you, no doubt.
All right, yeah, that was dope. That was dope talk, Vel. Appreciate you for coming up as always, fam. We got another guest. Y'all are familiar with him. He needs no introduction, but I'm gonna introduce him anyway. Somebody you might have seen up here before, hailing from the city of Brooklyn. We call him the Brim Reaper. We got my main man, Leaf.
What up?
First off, Bobby, you don't call me that, bro. Like that's number one. Everybody in the chat ran with that BS, bro. And
I actually like it. I actually dig the Brim Reaper. I
Leaf,
like that.
that's hard, bro. That's love, bro. You should
Brim
embrace
Reaper?
that.
Word. I kind of dig that.
well, if that's the case, bro, I need New Era to start sponsoring me. Then, like if anything, that's all well and good. I'm not gonna talk about something that's clearly gonna piss me off, like the Denver Nuggets situation. I'm not gonna talk about that. I'm gonna talk about something that's gonna make me neutral. How about Darius Garland? Darius Garland, definitely has upped his game. 2 years ago, Chill, we talked about it when they was in the playoffs. His ass was absolutely chicken roast in the playoffs with the Cavs in that series against the Knicks. His ass was a steak and crab dinner. And he's most likely going to be the most negative defender. His defense is probably going to be the most challenged on this team going forward in the playoffs as well, man. Because obviously the Cavaliers don't have a premier perimeter defender, even though Donovan Mitchell is having a pretty balanced year. He ain't having the greatest year, but he having a pretty balanced year. Playmakers is getting better and everything. Evan Mobley might win defensive player of the year. It's most likely gonna happen. I had Triple J for most of the year, but that Memphis shit imploded. Um but Darius Garland, he's gonna have a lot. He's gonna have a lot to prove in this postseason run for the Cavs. The Knicks, and a lot of other teams. The Knicks is one of those teams, man. They're gonna have their hands full with Detroit. They
Before you
absolutely
go
gonna.
any further, let's get back to Darius Garland. What exactly is a successful postseason for Darius Garland this year?
I say at minimum 19 plus a game. 7 assists plus a game, but good
He was doing
shooting
that last year, just so you know, Lee. He was doing that last year.
in the postseason.
Yeah, he was doing that last year. He was
Okay,
like 17, he was like 17, 18 a game last year. He was around.
okay, okay. So, all right. Well, thank you for putting that on my mind. That need to rise then, because in the postseason, your numbers is quote unquote supposed to rise. So I'm getting to about. We're gonna get to about maybe 25 a game, 24, 25 a game.
There's two different 19s though. You can have an effective 19 or you can have a trash. And you've seen a garbage 19.
Yeah, I seen some shit 19s. Oh,
yeah, you've seen a terrible 20 a game.
I have.
But then you've also seen an effective 20. Like, yo, okay, we'll take that 20 over that bullshit 20 right there.
Right. But when I up the score and say like 24, 25, that means that you having some games in the playoffs where you on fire, you lighting it up. You might go for 30 one night and then couple of nights you might dumb it down to like 23, 21, but you still effective 23, 21. Like you said, it's a effective percentage, effective 3-point percentage, this, that, and the third. And you're not turning the ball over, you taking care of the ball, you knifing into the defense, you're doing pretty much everything that you did in the regular season, but it's on cloud nine. It's on a bigger cloud. You know what I'm saying? So Darius Garland going forward in this postseason for the Cavs, it's definitely gonna be one of the biggest X factors because I'm not gonna let Allen and Mobley off the hook because the way that they got thugged out by the Knicks a couple of years ago, that's definitely gonna be put on notice. They gonna be thinking, a lot of teams gonna be thinking that they little boys, and they can't be that. Jared Allen, bro, listen, whatever you thinking to come postseason, get right.
These ain't the
Get
same
right.
dudes.
That was the past, though, Leaf.
Evan
Evan was a plus. Evan was a plus.
I want to say that it is. I want to say that it is, but we only got one way to find out. And before I go, just to get on the Pistons, the Knicks is gonna have their hands full with them. They're gonna have their hands absolutely
Where's
full
the
with them.
problem? Where's the problem, Leaf, with the Knicks Pistons? In your estimation, you watching the Knicks and you watching the Pistons matched up, where's the biggest problem? Like, oh shit, we got to deal with this right here, and we might not have an answer for it.
The biggest problem is Cade Cunningham. My thing is like, yo, you're gonna have to put Mikal, you're gonna have to put OG on him at some point, bro. And don't get me wrong, Jalen Brunson is gonna have his, but at the same time, these dudes are tough. These dudes are not. They got grown men in the paint. Jalen Duran is a grown man in the paint. Isaiah's
He's an adult. That's an adult.
He's a grown man in the paint, bro. Like ain't no bitch in him at all. No. Like that's a grown man in the paint. Bobby, you muted.
Y'all seen what he did to Precious the other night? Put that shoulder in him and just punched it.
Oh yeah.
That's a Memphis on Memphis crime.
Oh yeah. That's what it is. He got grown man muscle, grown man strength, and this kid is only what 22, 23 years old. And I thought he had that when he came into the league. But Cade Cunningham is gonna be a problem. If them shooters get going, Malik, Tim Hardaway, Toby, if they start going crazy, man, them shooters is gonna be a problem. Indiana's probably a team that you got to look out for too, because offensively, I think I think Tyrese Halliburton best game is yet to come.
He's getting better as time goes on. He is 100% getting better. I won't argue that. Yes, we actually had a conversation yesterday about him. We had a conversation yesterday about him being an All-Pro. We did. We had that conversation.
I might have to tap Ron on the shoulder, bro, about Tyrese Halliburton, bro, because he been co-signing him since day one, and hey man, listen, I feel sorry for what happened to Orlando, but Indiana might be it's a possibility that they might get to the conference finals again.
Yeah. Well, we'll see, Leaf, but
yeah.
So all we can do is wait. But all right, Leaf, appreciate you pulling up as always, man.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And embrace that, brother. The Grim Reaper.
New era got to give me a contract, bro. If y'all not
even breaking it neither. You're not even breaking it. It's
I just got it sitting on top. That's it.
It's got it sitting up there like just chilling.
All right, Leaf.
All right. And by the way, Ox, he turns 22 this November.
Right. Yeah, I knew he wasn't 23.
Yeah, he's only 21. Yeah. He turns 22 this November.
Yeah, youngster. Okay, we got time for one more. And I'm bringing up somebody who, unfortunately, in the next week or so, we might not be seeing eye to eye. We might find ourselves mortal enemies for a game. Hopefully, we come out victorious. Let's bring my man, Rock Out Deuce. What's up, Deuce?
What up, fellas?
What up?
Chilling,
man.
Bro.
What I meant by Memphis gave up the game is that defense. It's that defense, and it's not even like they can't. It's like they're not trying. Like it's just a lack.
You got a different. First of all, when you change coaches, okay, you change philosophies and you change the energy on that crew. So that crew that crew had a different energy when they played for Taylor Jenkins, a completely different energy. So now you got the Euro over there. So now we got to adapt to his philosophy, especially this late in the season. So you're gonna see some peaks and valleys. You're gonna see some lulls, which is kind of unfortunate because of where we are now. Like this wouldn't be that big a deal if it was January because we got some time to get this thing together. We don't. We don't have a lot of time. We got to get this together now because you see where we are. We're in the playing tournament. Our season could be over by next week.
Yeah. And I'm hoping we don't lose to whoever we plan to play in that first game, because I'm not even if we do win that second playing game, I'm really not trying to see the Thunder first round, bro. I'm not. I'm not, man. I'm not trying to see this shit. First round? No.
I mean, I don't know though. I don't know if y'all could beat OKC. I don't know who can be OKC. There's a couple teams, but I mean, player for player though, I don't hate the matchup. I don't hate the matchup.
Don't neither.
Desmond Bane's gonna have to really shoot the piss out the ball. But
yeah,
you know what I'm saying. But I wouldn't put money on y'all, but I wouldn't necessarily be.
It's not that I don't hate the matchup. We lost every game against them this season. I know we dealt with a lot of injuries this season. We lost we got swept. The season series we got swept. I think we have a better chance with Houston. I know they won 3 and we won 1, but like I told Chill, and Chill said he got a man wearing down Ja. I can understand that. I just do not trust Jalen Green in the playoffs. I don't. I don't.
So you're saying that you like this Houston matchup better than this Oklahoma City matchup is what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Which means, and I said this to you, Ox, translation, we ducking smoke. We don't want nothing to do with these dudes. Okay? We straight ducking the smoke. Pros say it all the time. Like, we like this matchup better than this matchup right here. Translation, we don't want nothing to do with these dudes. We ducking that smoke. That's what we doing.
Chill, that's self-preservation. I know when we was young, when we was learning about stop, drop, and roll, and the firefighters used to come to the schoolhouse, they told us smoke goes up, get low. A lot more often it's the smoke that kills you, not the fire. You know what I'm saying? So you're supposed to duck that, and I ain't mad at it.
And listen, when the Lakers had AD, that's the main team I was ducking, because AD
you ain't want nothing to do with them.
I ain't want nothing to do with AD. Nothing. I ain't want nothing to do with it. But the problem with this defense is Santi Aldama. I don't know if I can cuss. Santi Aldama is fucking ass on defense. He sucks. They get him on a mismatch every time. Did you see him trying to guard Ant the other night?
They specifically went after him with Anthony Edwards. They specifically went after, kind of like hunting Luka. So, but we got to go though, Rock. Good to talk to you, brother.
All right, good talking to y'all, man.
All right,
yes,
brother.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Chill, I can't.
It's something else. I love it.
Facts. But Chill, I can't knock a man for not being able to guard Ant. You know, I can't. I really
What are we
can't.
doing? Yeah, what are we doing? I mean, it's not like you can't guard, somebody in the 8th grade, or you can't guard somebody in high school. You can't guard arguably the best 2 guard in the game. Like, are you having trouble with him? I mean, that's part of it. What am I going to do? That's part of it.
How many backup power forwards can guard the best shooting guard in the league?
0. How about that? 0. That's how many. These many.
Right.
I'm willing to bet dollars to donuts that these many can slow down Anthony Edwards. No.
Before we do shake out of here, y'all, let me get through some of these super chats. We got Alan Noy. I think he wanted to clear up his other super chat. He said the difference is really him driving to the rim. Talking about Luka Doncic.
Mm-hmm. He is getting to the rim a little bit more.
Yeah. Let's see. Void Century. Are you guys moved by Bam's recent 3-point shooting? 12 straight games with the 3 made, 10 of them with at least 2. Had 4 last night. He looks really comfortable.
Where was this shit at in January? How about that? Where was this shit at in December? No, I ain't moved by it. No, because I popped all this shit about Bam. I'm sorry if I'm cussing, but I popped all this shit about Bam before the season started, and this is what I'm getting now. Hell no, I ain't moved by this shit. No.
Oh man, Bam, too little, too late.
Yeah.
That's what we'll call that. Pimp named Slickback. I think the Knicks trading for Bridges is looking horrible because they lost their flexibility and they were sold a bag of bad goods. Also, I don't know if y'all know, but Bridges is up for an extension this summer.
Yes, he is. He on the books for a little bit of money, like 22, 23 million. So, yeah. So, they got a decision to make.
I got to say, they might have given up a lot. They might have given up a lot for Mikal. But I do think when they got Mikal, I think they were looking for a guy like Mikal, a guy that is going to be available, a solid defender, a guy that can give you 17, 18 points a game. I think they gave up a lot for him, though. I think they did, but I don't think they necessarily regret the move, y'all. And as we've been saying, the playoffs are upon us, so let's get ready for that. Let's see what Mikal is going to do. We got through a lot of news today, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you like this video and just be here every Saturday, noon Eastern. We will be right here on this channel, on this platform. Also, we're back to 2 days a week, so y'all can always catch us on Thursday as well. In other news, chill. I believe the PCL finals is tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yep.
I don't have all the information here. I don't have a graphic for y'all, but be here tomorrow. Check your notifications. I'm sure it's posted, and don't want to miss it. The championship between Real Talk and Mars, third place game for Chill and Jordan. It's going to be great, y'all. We had a great. The Final Four so far has been great. The Final Four is not over. Y'all come back, sit down, bring your snacks, watch great debates.
Yes, sir. We will see you guys soon, man. I'm already getting blown up by Claire. Cheerio already blowing me up, so she said we got to go. So we will see you guys soon. Until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. When last time you talked to your mother? If you're ever in the Portland area and you had too much to drink, yo, hit my man up. He got you. He got you figured out. So we will see you guys soon. But until then, take it light. But take it. Absolutely, man. It was good to see you guys.
Check out tomorrow at the PCL Final Four final matchups. Check y'all on Monday on the panel. Don't miss From the Logo on Tuesday. Chill with Chill will be back on Thursday. In the meantime, love yourself, drink water, and never, ever, 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 ever drink and drive. We'll catch y'all next time. Peace out.
Later.